Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Gracia, and I have a fantastic show planned for tonight. I'm really looking forward to talking to my guest once again. This will be his third appearance on the show. But before we get to it today, as you guys know, is always Wiz Wednesday. So if you didn't get to see the strip and follow it at the Wiz Comic on Instagram or Facebook, here it is. I'll give you a few moments to read. And second. There you go. Okay, and that was today's Wiz. I will be soon. I have a sore throat today, guys, but soon I'm actually going to start getting some voices done for them. So let's just bring on our guest. He has written I forgot how many books, countless books on how to draw. He has a passion for cartooning, passion for characters and showing you guys how to make characters. And let's bring on Chris Hart. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
How you doing? I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Real good.
So, yeah. Welcome back, first of all.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, and congratulations on your strip.
Thank you. I always enjoy doing it. So anyway, we already got some comments. Let's see. Dylan says, hello, Mike. Who's this? Holly says, hello, all.
Oh, yes.
Joe Ryan. Hello. Hey, Michael Gracia. Dylan is cool. Hopefully it's my strip. Joe Ryan, it's been a while. Yes, it has been. Let's see. Redheaded Mike, this is great. Thank you. Dylan, hello. Christopher Hart.
Hi.
And we already said hi, Dylan.
But Facebook I see of here.
Yes. You got a few, I think. Yeah. So, yeah. So for the audience, because I forgot, how many books have you done?
Well, the ones over 100. I stopped counting over 100. But then also there are other books that are done, repurposed books. From other books, we can create certain books for certain special audiences. About 30 of those. I don't know if that counts, but it's got my name on the cover, so I'd say 130.
Wow. That's good. We also got a few. Let me just go a few more comments from Wandering Boy. I'm your biggest fan, Chris.
Thank you.
Joe Ryan. Hello, Chris. Look forward to the stream.
Nice to see you.
Then what's this one?
Holly is here. Holly always posts great stuff.
Hal Spencer.
Incorrigible. The cutest but most evil dog in the world. It's true. Really.
Excuse me. So yeah, no. So yeah, you've done a lot, and you're known for so many things. I think a lot of the stuff you're known for is a lot of like anime manga books. You have a lot of those. And you know what? I meant to actually pull out some of my books. I know I always say this and I never do. But last time you were on the show, you spoke about certain books that I did not have in my collection. And I can't see them right now. But yes, they were. The only book I didn't get a chance to pick up was your book on fairies that you were talking about. Yeah. But I picked up your one on fantasy illustration. Mm-hmm. And what was that? And I picked up one other. But yeah, no, they're fantastic books. I collect cartooning books. And I love the I just, even though I don't feel I need how to draw books anymore, they're great books as reference. Sometimes, you just get stuck and you just need to see an illustration or it's just inspiration sometimes.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you got something, but it's not quite working. You know how to do it, but that's a good idea. What if I held the sword up higher or something?
Yeah. No, it was really helpful, very helpful. Especially the fantasy book. because
Oh, thanks,
I do a
thanks.
lot of fantasy art, and sometimes and the hardest thing, actually, you're right, is inspiration sometimes.
Sometimes it always surprises me. I have to say, it is a little flattering when I join like a professional organization, National Cartoonist Society, or some other
Yeah,
group, this that,
congratulations
and
on
like
that.
a bunch of guys go, "Oh, by the way, we have your books." I'm
Yeah,
like, it's like, because I mean, they're great. They're the stuff they're doing, so that they like that is it's just very nice.
yeah. No, no, that's awesome. I know a lot of people, and I told you this last time. Every time someone talks to me about a how to draw book, it's always, or more often than not, a Chris Hart book.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
it's just what people enjoy. I got another comment here from let's see, we got
I'd like to be able
one.
to also do some Q&A sometime in this show because they may have
Yeah.
questions about publishing a cartoon or character design, and it'd be great to be able to
Oh,
answer some questions.
absolutely. I was going to ask for questions as we go through,
Okay,
and
okay.
everybody knows though who watches the show, you're always able to ask a question at any time, and I'm going to do my best to get to all the questions asked. All right.
Thanks.
So I have a lot of your books from Wandering Boy, and
Okay.
Redheaded Ed says, "I think it was your first figure
Figure it
drawing
out,
book I ever
yes.
had. Figure it out. I think I have that too."
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was a really that was a great experience. That was one of the first books I did over at a different publisher that I liked. I was hoping things would work out well. And I saw this, people hadn't done a book like this, in my opinion. They had very rendered figures and everything. And I thought, this is good. I'm going to tell them the principles of figure drawing to make their poses look good, to make them work, give us some action, not just the, 5 or 6 or 7, 8 steps. A lot of principles, proportions, things like that. Ended up selling really well. And I told the publisher, I was more confident of myself back then. I said, this is going to do really well for you, this book. I'm glad it did. Or I'd be out.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, listen, all your books have so much great information in there. I love. My favorite part of your books is how you have little side notes in
Oh,
different sections, and say,
yeah,
like you'll like, like you mentioned, like raise the sword higher, like when you were talking about the inspiration there, and you
right.
just like you'll say little things, and it'll be like, oh, it's just sometimes you don't think about these little things, and you're just pointing them out,
Hmm.
and as someone starting out, or someone who's just been doing it for a long time and just might need a slight reminder, they're just so good to have.
Oh, thanks. Well, also when you write text for the illustrations,
Mhm.
there's a sameness that takes place over a paragraph or two.
Yeah,
And everything looks just as important as everything else. So if you have one thing that's really the takeaway, by putting it in a box, people just viscerally understand that that's the thing to remember.
yeah,
So I think it can be more helpful than just burying it in a bunch of other text. Even the text is useful.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. Let's see. I got a comment here. uh, this is actually a really good question. I like this here from Terry Mead. Hey,
Hi, Terry.
Chris. Good to see you again. How do you keep coming up with fresh ideas for your books? How did you get started?
Oh, which one? Which one first? uh, I'll give you the idea thing. People sometimes ask me, what do you do when you get stuck for ideas? Bless you.
Thank you.
But
I'm
I
sorry.
don't. I just come up with more. I have a way. I figured out a way to traverse the different areas of my imagination and kind of collide them together and watch something spark. I think sometimes people don't. Well, it happens that way. And so, thank you for the question. But I think everybody has to find their own kind of like spark, that part that makes them giggle at an idea, like, oh, I like that. Um, I started off I got a summer job, a part-time job on the weekends in San Diego doing character designs and storyboards. I had met the producer of this small animation studio, and I was 16 in high school. The problem is that I lived in Los Angeles. It's almost a 3-hour drive each way. Uh, they put me up, and I would draw and do this for like a couple of days, come back. It was like the greatest job. I loved it. It's what I wanted to do. And San Diego at that time, at least, may still be was a beautiful place. So it was animation. I really was so inspired by the Disney cartoons, but also at that time, some very terrific animation was being shown at 4 o'clock in the afternoon after school, and I would watch it because people didn't realize that all that stuff, Bugs Bunny, Barney Bear, Daffy Duck, that was all on the screen. Those are short films that used to be played before the features. It would get audiences in. It was like a bonus. No one has that anymore, but they did. Well, after that system went away and there were no more short films, they used those short films and they put them on television. That's how the Three Stooges got started on TV. They were actually on the screen before we filmed 15 minutes of the Stooges. So I used to watch this stuff very seriously, you know, and really try to look at the techniques in this. I just loved it. It was kind of it was a very happy, cheerful, and magical environment to be in front of.
That's great. So, but yeah, so after that, now let me just see his question again.
Maybe she meant how that started get my books published. That's a different story.
That's what I was going to say. Did he want to ask? Because
Terry.
I actually have a follow question when you're done with telling this part of the story about the books. I do have a question, but go ahead.
Sure. I had done a bunch of cartoons here and there and this and that, and I was also in screenwriting. And somehow, somebody at this publisher who was a premier publisher of art instruction. Matter of fact, in art college, we used to carry those books around with us. They had some really fancy ones too. But they always stayed, bowls of fruit, this and that. And they were looking to do something on cartoons. And they had one person there knew that I was a cartoonist. They brought me in. And they had me do this kind of elaborate presentation. And I finished the whole presentation. And I think the guy who was in charge didn't like it. And he left. They go, I asked greener pastures. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure of the trajectory of this thing. But then the person who took over said, I always wanted this book. Come here back. So she published the book. And I remember that after it came out, I didn't see it anywhere. So I thought nothing of it. I thought didn't do well. I mean, I thought it was really a lot of fun, a good book, but that it didn't do well. And then all of a sudden, the publisher called me to have lunch with her. And I didn't understand why she wanted to have lunch with me. I'm not that interesting, And so she told me the book was doing very well. It doesn't get distributed on the channels at the same time. It's not like today where everything's instant online. You can get it that minute. Things took a while to get out. And she wanted several more books for me. And I thought, okay, a book is like I still think it's a big deal, I'll do it. And so I did right in a row, cartoons and comic strips, funny faces, how to draw cartoon animals, and a book on superheroes. And everything you want to know everything you want to know about drawing, but we're afraid to ask. And out of those 5 books, the Everything You Want to Know sold over 100,000. The first one sold 200,000. The Animals sold 200,000. The Heroes sold 100,000. And the Making Funny Faces, not so hot. But I was on a roll, And so then a marketing expert came over to the publisher, was hired. And she took one look at my book. She said, no, you're not doing all these like this. This is now a series. You are doing a series. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman to work with. She's passed away a long time ago, unfortunately. And it really, my career really took off in 2 books. First with a superhero book. That was very important to my career. It actually, I won't say it, but it was really killing the competition. And then I decided to do a book on manga. And there were only really some in limited distribution, it appeared to me. And most of them were Japanese books, Japanese translations. And mine came in, and it sailed to #1 right away, and stayed there for a year. And I got on the cover of Publishers Weekly, based on the strength of that title, and we ended up with like 7 or 8 books in the series. I can tell you something interesting about series, by the way. Most people don't know. Is anyone interested in publishing? Sort of the machinations of publishing. It's because I think it's interesting. The reason why you do a series, of course, is because the first one does well. People are going to know the second one, and they're going to want that one. However, usually the next books in a series don't sell quite as well. It's not a law of nature. Some can, and I've had that happen. But at a certain point, it comes time sometimes to jump off and try something new. So on the strength of what you have, booksellers will say, "Hey, this guy sold some really good books, and he has another one on this, and we'll take it." But you have to kind of push against the tide and make everyone not just a sequel, but a sequel, meaning it's in the series, but it's brand new stuff. So if that makes any sense.
Excuse me. No, it does. It makes a lot of sense to me. Before I get to a question, I see in the comments, Wandering Boys asking how long is the stream? It's getting late. We go for about an hour. It could be a little over, it could be a little under. It just really depends. But I would average an hour for the stream. And if you do have to go, it will be up on YouTube, and you can watch it later at your convenience, the whole thing.
And if you want to email me or message me on Facebook with a question that you didn't get to ask, I'll be happy to answer it.
That's great. Thanks. So my question was, and this is very, maybe a little more just personal for me, because you were talking about how you break up your imagination. You have all this, and you kind of break it up. You're doing these series. What kind of keeps you motivated to keep doing these books? And this is the personalness to me. I am outside of being a cartoonist, I have an education background, and I actually have ideas for my own books of educational books. And I'm not saying it's all cartooning, it's just education in general. What keeps you motivated to keep making and publishing these types of books? Have you ever thought about doing other types of books that maybe you have other interest in?
Well, yes, I have one coming out in March. Coming March, that's very different. And I'm like as excited as I could be. And my publishers were just so supportive, because it's not always easy for publishers to say, "Well, he does this stuff, but here's a different thing." But it's actually related. Maybe that's for another show. But so I do some other things. And look, the Squiggles and Wiggles is really a little different. I wanted to do that for a long time, but didn't get around to doing that. The fairies things were very different. But it's like I'm interested in getting it right. And by that I mean, like, if you play tennis, there's something called the sweet spot, where you hit the ball on the racket and it just feels right. There's something like that in doing a book correctly. It's a challenge also. And I'm interested in trying to meet and hopefully exceed the reader's expectations. There's something in the zeitgeist out there, and people are looking for a certain something. It's like, that's interesting. I bet I could show that. I bet there's a way. Sometimes it's the angle, not the subject so much. Like there might be a for instance, drawing animals. I did a book on drawing animals called Drawing Animals Made Amazingly Easy. I thought it was really good. But you see, the angle is different than anyone had done that I'd seen. It's a whole book where it compared the human anatomy to the animal's anatomy. So you could see on the animal where the heel is, where the elbow is, and related to the humans. Now, people have done things like that before, but I think I stressed it more. I hope, maybe not. But it was going about it that way that I thought was it was the angle, the treatment of it.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's go to just some of the comments real quick. Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys out there. I'm going to be coughing and sneezing a little bit. It's okay. I have bad sinus issues, and I've just been dealing with one sinus infection for about
Ricola. Try Ricola.
I don't do that on the air because I don't need to hear people with the cracking and the stuff
Yeah.
in my mouth and stuff. But I have my tea next to me here in my Disney mug from Disney World that keeps it hot, and I'm I'm doing good. But I apologize for all those coughing and stuff you'll hear today. I just want to look up here. This is many cartooning books out there, but yours are the most fun and helpful
Oh, thank you very much. It's so nice to say.
and inspiring as well.
That's great. Oh, I hope you're doing a lot of drawing and enjoying it.
Terry
Thank you,
says I
Terry.
have
It's so
them
nice.
all. What's this? I don't know. Now Dylan asked what the book is called. I think he was asking about the one you mentioned for March, but I'm sure you can't talk about that one right now.
No.
I understand.
Yeah.
But you did mention drawing wiggles. I'm sorry, drawing with squiggles and wiggles, which we are
That's
going to
right.
look at in a few moments.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it on my Cintiq here right now. Some of the pages and stuff that you sent me, and this looks like a really fun book. I went through all the pages you've sent me. I haven't had a chance to do them myself just to test them out, but I tend to do things like that when people send me things. But I just love your designs. Like how just how you're building characters out of these simple little, what, like you say, wiggles and squiggles, and it's you got some just fun characters here. So you said this is a book you've been wanting to do for a while. Tell me how you came up with it, and how long it took you just to get to the point to start on the book.
Well, the way I come up with many books is not the concept so much as a title out of the blue. A title will hit me. I was walking along. I think I was at a convention. I'm not sure. And I thought, squiggles and wiggles, squiggles and wiggles. That's fun. Squiggles and wiggles. And I thought, you can't make a book out of squiggles and wiggles. What's a squiggle? A wiggle sounds complicated. You can't do that. So I sat down and I sketched it up. And a certain company was very interested right away in this book. And I was like, but they wanted for a different type of product. Which I thought, this is going to be a book.
Yeah.
And so I told my publisher about it, showed my publisher. They really liked it and were on board. And they were like, do you want to do this next? And, sometimes you have something in your ear that just says, this should be next. And I had that idea, like maybe another manga book should be next. Another figure drawing should be next. I was following all of this. And it went on like that for like a few years. And finally, one morning I was sitting at my desk and I said, oh my God, if I don't do this, it'll never get done. It just like hit me like the stream of consciousness in the art, in the world of readers and cartoonists would go away. I wouldn't follow this unless I did it now. It needed to be done now. So I did it. And again, about the treatment of something rather than the subject, it was so much fun to figure out inventive ways to take these squiggly, wiggly, silly shapes and make them simple enough to add cartoons and make cartoons have personality in the squiggles. And so I tell you, I just don't remember the last time I had so much fun drawing a book. I mean, you got everything from monsters to fish to poodles to people, and I have these drawing tricks where you have this really weird squiggly line and you come out with 2 characters from it or 5 characters from it. So it was kind of almost, it felt like a little mini explosion of creativity. I thought people could enjoy having fun and also learn something about drawing within certain parameters.
It's well, first of all, just looking at what you're seeing here, I definitely need to pick up this book, at least, if not for me, at least for my nephew. But it reminded me, as I was looking at these pictures, it reminded me of a game I used to play in high school. I never understood why they had it, but I was in AP art, that was the only AP class I ever qualified for in my life. But a friend of mine in AP art, we would do this thing where we would challenge each other by drawing a weird, if you want to call them squiggles and wiggles, just a weird thing, and we'd have to build something off of it and turn it into things, and that was, and we would just, and then we'd have our friends kind of like, vote whose was a more creative, if you will.
Mhm.
And then I forgot about that up until I started looking at the pictures. And just recently, I think it was last Friday, my nephew was over, and he comes into my studio all the time and he wants to draw on the Cintiq. And and he was basically doing that, like, with me. He was like, here's a little thing, make a drawing out of it, Uncle Michael.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, okay. And so I'd give
Yeah.
it to him and he'd make it. And then we moved on to some other type of a scribble game that I would play with him, where I draw scribbles and in like one color, and then he has to take another color and find an image in there to pop out and draw. And that's something I've always done too. But it just like reminded me of, and it just reminded me of, like I said, my childhood, drawing games I play with my nephew. It's just a fun,
Yeah.
fun, fun book here. And I just want to say hi to Mike Wilkie, who's watching. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah. So let's show some of this stuff here. All right. I'm going to add this to the stream there, and we're in Photoshop, guys. So I don't know if that's zoomed in enough for the way you see the
Yeah, it's
screen.
kind of far.
Let me come back. Whoops. Let me come to Photoshop and zoom in.
That's better.
That's better. Okay. So this is the cover of the book. Create 100+ cartoons with fun shapes. And I'm already seeing, I can kind of guess some of the ideas.
That's right.
On here. These are great here. But I love how you have the step of this dog. You started with kind of like this little swirl.
Right.
And you built it into the puppy here.
What I like is that when you finish the drawing, if you were to take out the swirl or the wiggle, it would still look good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't notice it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just great. I have a thing for cats. I love this giant-headed cat there.
Yeah.
I love your designs.
Oh,
I really do. So let's take a look at some of the pages in here now. So this one right here was my most favorite you sent me. I just think because when you sent it to me, last week's Wiz comic dealt with a pig.
Oh.
It was one of the 3 little pigs. Mm-hmm. And then I open up this file from you, and I'm like, oh, this is I like the way you drew it. I mean, probably could have used some of your design, but anyway, this is nice. Tell us about this one here.
That's one of the first things I ever drew. That was the presentation, actually. I don't know where I got that from, but I just thought it'd be funny to have like 3 bumps in a row and turn them into 3 heads. It just seems so natural. And to have the little snouts hanging over the fence, I mean, how can you not like that? So silly little pigs sitting together. Pigs are really a popular, cute character. There are many cute characters that are cute. In cartooning, for instance, one of the most popular characters, believe it or not, is a wolf. A wolf is very popular. And here's a weird thing. Dogs are much more popular in the public. There are many more dogs than are cats. But a cute kitten will get more views than a cute cat. So pigs are a notoriously cute. I don't know if you mean notorious and cute at the same time, but they are.
I don't disagree with you. I like pigs. Yeah, no, this is just fun.
Oh, thanks.
Here, let's see here.
Oh yeah, that's a wiggle. I don't know if you can tell. It's not a squiggle. It is definitely a wiggle. They're fun. Bunnies are fun. I mean, there's so many ways to make them cute. You could just see that one, for instance, with 2 dots for eyes. Just simplify it, and maybe make it a little wider and a little fatter. Maybe the ears going down, or squiggles with the ears. So it's just a good all-around character design to use.
Yeah, I love drawing rabbits too. I mean, my background with cartooning, it was always animals before humans.
Right.
And I don't know if that's something kids just do in general, but I was a big, I've told you this before. I'm a big fan of like the old Hanna-Barbera, the old Looney Tunes. So loving McGill Gorilla, Ricochet Rabbit, and all those characters. That's what I was drawing. I was drawing cartoon animals as a kid.
You know, I gotta tell you, Mike, sometimes I get embarrassed. I forget myself. I remember it was about a couple months ago. Someone mentioned McGill Gorilla and Company,
Mhm.
just regular adults. I said, "Oh yeah, I remember that theme song," and I kind of sing-songed it, and they looked at me like, "Who are you?" Because it was correct.
Yeah, yeah. It's well, it's a fun theme song. I mean, what was that? I just saw it. Oh God, it had to be within the last year. And somewhere on social media, they were talking about Bruce Willis, and then every time someone talks about Bruce Willis, they talk about the episode of Moonlighting where they sung the Top Cat theme song in there, and then they just show it. The clip just pops up, and it's just funny watching him and every his group of friends singing Top Cat on the episode of Moonlighting. I was a little young for that show. Not that I didn't watch it, but it was. I don't remember that. It's just funny,
Mm,
but it's just impressive how those things stay
yeah.
in your conscious because
Right.
it had so much of a influence on you.
Yeah, I mean, here's one last little tidbit on McGill Gorilla, which is really scary. I remember that it was on Thursday nights. Thursday
I,
night was very important in my household.
I watched that in reruns as a little kid. That
Uh,
was what was that 60 like 7 or
yeah,
something?
it sounds right. That sounds right. I know where I lived then.
Yeah, no, I wasn't around till 76, so
Oh,
it was. But yeah, we got here. Now this one was nice too. I really
oh,
enjoyed
thanks.
this one.
Well, I decided to do one that wasn't structural. In other
Mhm.
words, she has the same structured face like an egg shape that you give any other cartoon character. So make the squiggles the all-enveloping hair as a decorative sort of thing. And it was important to make sure it goes in one line, one loop followed by another loop, followed by another loop, not make it kind of like sketchy or ruffled. And it's cute. I think it works, and it's also a little different having the hair cover an eye. So
Mhm.
it gives the reader something to think about
Yeah,
and draw.
yeah. No, it's really nice. I want to just go to the comments from when we were just talking about McGill Gorilla. We got Terry saying you both are hitting me where I live, and then Redheaded Ed. Cartoonists and animation nerds are always my favorite for older cartoon people. Flintstones will never be lost on me. It's I gotta say the cartoon theme songs first of all are always my go-to songs when like I'm in the car or just in a good mood or you know even my your shower singing song. What is that? It's cartoon theme songs. We got a question here. Let's see. I have a question for is when you draw, you had candy with what does that say? When you draw, you had candy with you. I have to. I don't know if to chew it inside my cheeks like a whale drawer. Do you have any?
Oh,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you were
yeah, yeah,
writing.
yeah. Oh, that's
So
Holly. She's a very frequent visitor on the Facebook, which is so nice. You know, I don't mind like humming, or if I were to chew gum or something, that wouldn't be a problem. But when I'm doing the final drawing, where I'm really focusing on making all the lines correct, so it's a clean drawing, I can't do that. I have to really focus. So it's funny. I tap my feet, I hum, I this and that. But if I do that while I'm trying to do the finished drawing, it becomes a rough drawing again. Because that's a sort of like kinetic energy. It's going this way and that way, you're chewing and this and that. You're kind of like all over the place, but that's good. You put everything down, everything. But
yeah,
then when you want to put a piece of paper over it and trace it, or do the same thing on your iPad or whatever pad, then it's time you need to kind of like eliminate all the other energy and just focus on finishing the drawing. At least that's been my experience.
yeah. I um I actually I think that's funny because last week my guest Fred Gago, who's a storyboard artist, I don't know if we talked about it off the air or on the air, but he was like, "Do you make noise when you draw?" And I'm like, all the time. You'll if I'm drawing a guy and he's shooting a gun, you're going to hear laser sounds coming out of me. You're going to do also. But I did not say this, and it's something that you just said. When you're inking, you stop,
Right.
and I will make sounds in between my lines, but I won't make sounds when I'm making my lines.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it
Yeah.
is just very interesting. I didn't think of that. And today, like I said, I wasn't feeling too great, so I was drawing a little bit. And I did this image of the Hulk and this image of Angel from the X-Men.
Mhm.
And I just remember when I was drawing, I was singing like X-Men songs and whatever, and humming the theme song. And then I started inking, and everything got quiet. I didn't think about that until
Yeah.
now.
Hyper focused at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So Alice says, "Thank you most kindly."
Yeah, sure thing.
Mike says, "I go back as far as Tom Terrific." Yes, I'm that old, but that was a good cartoon too. I watched everything in reruns,
Were
Mike.
those Terry tunes?
Tom Terrific? I don't know if Tom Terrific
I
was
don't.
Terry
I
Tunes.
don't. I don't. I can't think of the face or anything. I've heard the name, but
I'd have to look it up. But Tom was a good one here. What is Terry has a nice question here. How do you finalize your drawings? Do you go pencil first into Procreate or another program?
I uh, I just go over it in pencil very carefully, and then I scan it. I just never really got the hang of the programs. I just didn't. And I always just faced with the same problem. I'm so bad at it. It takes so long for me that for me to really learn it, I'd have to miss a publishing date. So I'd have to do one fewer book. Well, financially, it didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, frankly, if I had spent 6 months learning all this stupid stuff, it's not really stupid, but if I had spent 6 months just dedicating myself to this, I would have put out one or two fewer books, but it would make the rest very, very easy to do. On the other hand, the problem I think sometimes with the programs is that you have somebody construct their drawing, and then they'll have the finished drawing, and then they'll have it on layers. So then they take off one layer, that's step 4, another one, that's step 3, another one, that's step 2, another one, that's step 1. Well, yes, it is, but there's no room for manipulating it. Like if I do step 2 from step 1, sometimes I'll make it slightly different. I'll say, look, it could be here. You could draw this line this way or this way, and it's like customizing something rather than just tracing it in reverse. I mean, it's not a fatal flaw or anything, but I prefer the other way. I've done both. I mean, I've done some other ways, but there's an organic feel to drawing on paper, I find, versus digitally. But I've seen people do great digital drawings. So that's maybe just my personal shortcoming.
No, listen. I get it. I mean, I draw both ways. I prefer paper and pencil. I think it's the best way to draw. But you know, working at least for me, the working methods I have to use, or when I work with clients, digital just seems to be the best method at the end of the day for my work. But if it was, I do a lot of paper, a lot of sketching on paper, and I just take a photo and airdrop it over to my iPad or my computer, and I just work off of that. So there's always a paper sketch normally for me. Rarely do I start, you know, just on the computer. But I just want to go to the comments real quick. Okay, so Tom Terrific was Terry Tunes.
Oh,
It was on Captain Kangaroo.
oh,
Terry looked that up, I think it was,
thank you.
or Redhead, shown on Captain Kangaroo. And let's see here. Oh, and then Joe Ryan asks, do you listen to music when you draw? Do you like silence? Me personally, I draw in silence, but if I'm coloring, I like fast-paced music.
Oh no, I understand that. I actually prefer to listen to not so much, well, some music and also some some lectures on YouTube, interesting areas are interesting to me. I'm interested in cosmology and physics for the layperson. Um, but when I write, I can't listen to anything. I have to have total silence, which is a little unhappy because I spend a lot of time writing. I really would like to listen to something, but I cannot. You know,
Yeah.
the synapses are not firing; they're listening. So
No,
that's me.
it can be distracting. I do understand that. That is. There are times where I just want nothing but silence myself
Hmm.
when I'm working. Let's see. Move on. This is another one of my favorites that you sent me. And I don't know why. I guess anytime you see an eye patch on a little animal, it's hysterical.
Yeah, it's a bad bunny. This is a bunny who's really trouble. A lot of people think they can believe in the bunny. They can coax him around, get him to be a guy with integrity. You can't do it. Bad bunny. So it's like it's just basically like two loops together.
Yeah,
So it's a kind of silly non-shape. That's the thing I like about this book. They're like non-shapes. So it's
yeah,
like not a real shape, but you can turn it into an unlikely cartoon, and it works. If you didn't know that, I didn't see the first shape or the other shapes, and you just look at the final, you think, oh yeah, sure, that's a funny cartoon. You wouldn't realize it came from that kind of blobby shape. And
yeah,
throughout the book, by the way, I use this sort of like this kind of humorous tilt at it, which is I name some of these shapes like they're official shapes. Like that's the blobby double decker.
that's funny.
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
I like that. Because when I first saw this, before I looked down at the bottom, I'm like, "Oh, you're doing like a skull or something," and that's what I first saw looking at this. I'm like, "It's going to
Right.
be a cartoon zombie or something," and then you got this is fun,
That would have
very
been fun.
fun.
That would have been fun. Yeah.
I love the little scar on him.
Thanks. Yeah. Always bad.
Yeah.
Give me your carrot.
And this one here, Terry added a comment. I forgot to say, goes, wow, love the simplicity of your line. Awesome. I forgot what
Thanks.
he was talking about, but this is something I feel just really says the same. It's just so simple, but it works so
Right.
well.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I This one I felt the same way about. I thought I want to do a few that are just it's just not stretching this way that way. It's you hit it, you coil up a line, and boom, it's a bird. Like you said, it just looks like what it's supposed to be. And you have to discover these things. They're not like somewhere in a book. So it's the part of the enjoyment of making this book was discovering the characters that were already there. You just have to bring them out. Plus, you have to be sure not to use too much detail in the character.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the squiggle is not going to be primary. It's going to be a secondary. It's an afterthought, and I didn't want that.
yeah. Got a question here
Yes, sir.
from Kel Steven. Are your books available in Belgium?
Well, I don't know if you have Amazon. Amazon has all my books. So if you have Amazon there, I guess you could get it there. I wouldn't know really. I don't deal with that. I mean, I'm aware my books become available to foreign countries, but I don't know about this one.
Okay. So I guess check
Thank you
your
for
local
asking, though.
Amazon and
Yeah,
see.
but thank you for asking.
Let's go to the next one here. This one, the Mustache Man.
This is another one like the last one, where I just put
Yeah,
one horseshoe up, one horseshoe down. It's so simple, but it wasn't that easy to find a way to do it. But I think it finally worked.
yeah. Oh, it does. I like it.
Oh, thanks.
I'm loving his little goatee. Or is that a Van Dyke technically? I don't know.
I don't know. I tell you, your beard outshines it like by a lot.
I'm actually getting ready to trim.
Okay.
It's getting. I like it when it's long because it's funny when I had hair and I used to get angry. I'd run my fingers through my hair and just kind of give myself a little pull. It was just a way to stay calm. And if I got like really angry, now I have nothing, so I sit and play with with this all day. And when it gets too long because I'm playing with it, it turns it into a direction that I don't want it in. So I'm gonna get ready to trim it probably this weekend a little bit. Not keep it still a little long. I like to play around with it and stuff. It's silliness, but But yeah. So anyway, let's see. Oh, we're on the back cover, but we get another one on the back cover, and this is a great one here. I think this is the one of the favorites for the kids, probably.
It's like a stegosaurus of sorts. I
Yeah.
mean, all you have to do is have a hump on the back,
Yeah.
and you've got a squiggle or a wiggle. I mean, it's just that simple. There are tons of those in the book too.
Yeah.
There's a caterpillar that's so cute. I'd say it's one of the first cartoons in the book. So anyway, dinosaurs are fun. They really are fun. I mean, otherwise, sometimes you either see them as really funny or like killer creatures in a comic book.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. I like this one a lot. I
Thanks.
love the simplicity. Yeah, but your work always just looks just so good. I love it.
Thanks so much. That's so nice.
Now, let me ask you, just curious, because you were saying like you're going for cleanup. You're not cleaning up in pen here. This is still pencil you're cleaning up in, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So
Well,
you're working very much like a character designer, like before it even sees the inks. You're just really a pencil, doing pencils.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Wow.
Yes. I like it.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I want to show the bottom there. It's just nice and fun. It's also just a nice like classic cartooning style look to it,
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. You look at the gait, which is a fun part about this. He's got this gigantic body and these tiny feet, and he's hurrying. I mean, the body posture is the same if he's hurrying or standing or sitting.
Yeah.
The body's going to stay the same.
Yeah. No, that is fantastic. All right, let's see. We got another question. Let's see what he say. He says, you made a book on how to draw a retro cartoon, and I love the designs. I'd like to use them with your cassette. Oh, that's your consent.
I can't do that. Thanks for asking, but they're copyrighted to me, and that would take a legal procedure, and I'm not ready to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you anyway.
But yeah. All right, here. Yeah, I mean that of all the stuff you sent me, that's the end of it, man. Which is the back cover, which is cool. I love this whole book. I really think, I mean, this is good for all ages. But coming from my educational background, I would use these pages with kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things I used to do when I worked with kids regularly was quick drawing. Just little, let's draw, like, use this guy. Let's draw a funny dinosaur. And let's start with a line like this, and doing that, I think these would be great. I would love to see this book in every classroom in elementary schools. It'd be a great thing for kids to have to do. But I think all ages, even adults who just want to doodle and,
Yeah, it's just, you can think of it as a fun way to get started with your character designs. They're like prompts, but they're funny prompts and a little more inventive, a little offbeat. If you look at it that way, it could be certainly for adults, and just having fun with art, for kids, rather than drawing things that are, I mean, it's fine to draw. Here's a bowl of fruit. Here's a tree. Here's a house. This is, Bad Bunny.
Yeah. No, exactly.
3 Little Piggies.
And there's the cover again, you guys. So someone's asking, I'm sure I already know the answer to this question and can answer it for you, but it says, have you ever used GIMP to clean up your drawings? GIMP's is a computer program. It's a free drawing program.
No, haven't.
But I think like you said, if you put some time in, you're gonna you'd have a lot of fun digital stuff, especially in Procreate. It's because you can record your drawings automatically. The program could be set up to record. You can just throw those things up there. So
I should get back to it. I should.
Yeah, it's fun. I think Terry's taken off. He says, "Good information as always. Thanks, Michael
Terry. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. if anybody has any questions, want to know things about, uh, you know, anything related to, I guess, cartooning or something you've always wanted to ask Chris, we'll give you a moment to write in here. Kel says, don't say it's for kids. I'm 37. You want to buy the book. It's for kids of all ages. Listen, I'm 47 and I want to buy the book. Okay. Don't worry. Let's see. What is that? Joe says, I have so much fun with Procreate. Yes.
Okay.
This one says, where can we buy your books?
There Michael's Arts and Crafts is very big for me. Barnes and Nobles, Joann's, Amazon. I must be. And Walmart and Hobby Lobby. I'm probably missing some, but those are some big ones. And there are independent stores all over the places.
Yeah. We'll give it another moment or so. But I'm going back to see if I missed any questions. That's all our time. Terrific discussion. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'll go back to the bottom. Yeah, I guess, you know what? I don't know if there's any more questions. I don't really have any more, but and it's just listen, it's always great talking to you. It's always great seeing your work. I pass by it on Instagram. By the way, you guys, if you don't follow Chris on Instagram, it's Christopher Hart Books, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And they're underscored, Christopher_Hart_books. That's right. That's your. You follow him. He posts some really great stuff. Every time I get to see it, because the algorithm kind of changes. Sometimes I don't see it, but when I see your stuff, I love it. It's fun. Both on. We got a question from Holly. It's actually about payment. I don't know if you want to take a payment question on the air.
Do I owe someone money?
No. She wants to know how you get paid for each, or is it a page count?
For each book, or does it change in page count? So I think you're just talking about how much you would get as an author for each book. I'm not exactly sure what the page count would have to do with that, except that it would have a higher price if it were a bigger book, perhaps thicker book. Typically, authors get royalties; they get a percentage, but there's a lot of different ways it's split up before it gets to the author, and sometimes books are made where you don't get that. There are people who you just get if you hold on to the copyright. You generally, I don't know, this is legal stuff. We're not talking about anything. Forget what I just said. But I knew that generally authors get a royalty on their books, per book.
All right. I think we should wrap up there. So yeah, I just wanna thank you for coming on again.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
It really is always fun chatting with you. I hope to see you in person soon.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that far.
But yeah, no. So everybody, like I said, follow Chris on Instagram. It's Christopher_Hart_books. And you can check out his books in all the stores he said, on Amazon, and anywhere you find art books. Chris, I'm going to just drop you backstage real quick. Just hang out for a moment.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you for the great questions and for showing up. Appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. All right, guys. So that's the end of the show for today. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking to Chris. Don't forget, like I said, check him out. Check out his books. This is a book I want to pick up, not just, like I said, for my nephew, but for myself as well. It just looks like a lot of fun, creative ideas. It's Chris's books, and if it's not this one, he's got 130 books. There's a book out there for everyone. But definitely pick this book up. It looks a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back next week I'm not sure if I'm going to have a guest next week. I haven't decided if I want to do a solo show and draw for you guys and take questions and do a few things. If I'm going to do that next week or later in June, maybe have a guest. We'll see. But just check out for the ads, and you guys have a great rest of your day and week and everything, and hope you're all doing great. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.